IGA's Meals and Minutes.
Hi everyone. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes you get into a rut of making the same old thing every single week for your family, but hey, you know what? Liz Walls is here with us today from Hormel, and we're making ribs. Not only are we making ribs, but we're doing it right here in the kitchen and not outside on the grill. So anyone that's maybe a little bit intimidated about anything or just feels like they don't know a whole lot about ribs, we have our educator right here.
Okay, so what we have today are, we're gonna be making some St. Louis style ribs. Yes. This is the raw rib here. And one of the first things you'll want to do is flip the rib over, and there's a membrane on the back, and you'll just want to either peel that off or score it with a knife, just so that once it cooks, it doesn't become tougher. It'll just kind of melt away and
just cut it off.
Yep, we'll just cut it off. And then after you're done with that, what you'll want to do is simply make a basic rub and rub that on the ribs. And this is not something that you have to do. It's just kind of a nice touch. It's a way to personalize the rib. This is just a real simple rub that we've made with chili powder, a little black pepper, some coarse salt, cayenne pepper, and a little brown sugar, so it's not too.
And when you say you make it as personal as you want, you mean spicy or sweet or any
Exactly.
kind of flavor you want?
Yep. You can do really any flavor profile that you like. You can use some dried herbs.
Italian style,
exactly.
something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Perfect. So once they're rubbed, you'd like to let them sit for at least an hour, and even overnight would be great, just to allow the seasoning to absorb into the meat. So.
And you do both sides and then stick it in the fridge?
Do both sides, stick it in the fridge. One thing I like to do is actually line my baking sheet with the foil.
Yes.
So it makes for really easy cleanup.
Yes, and we love that.
So it's perfect.
You don't want to burn up your pans too,
perfect.
especially because we're doing it here.
Perfect. So
okay.
At this point, you'll want to put your ribs in the oven, and we'll just go ahead and do that. And then we're going to start making the glaze. So
how long do you have to make ribs in the oven, and what temperature are you thinking that we're going to
What I
put
recommend
this in?
is that you cook them for several hours. Low and slow is the key. So just put these on our sheet pan oven.
Okay.
And then we're going to go ahead and make the glaze.
Okay.
Get that glaze started for
Good
the ribs
idea.
while those
Yes.
bake.
Okay.
So Courtney, I think I'll have you go ahead and start adding the ingredients for our glaze.
Does it matter what I do first?
Doesn't matter what you do first. This is a chili sauce.
Chili sauce.
So we're going to add a half a cup of chili sauce.
Okay.
A quarter cup of the brown sugar.
I love brown sugar.
Just gives it
Everything
kind of
tastes
rounds
so
the
good.
flavor out. We have a jar of cherry preserves.
Half or?
About half of that, and you'll probably need the spoon for that.
I love this because there's the whole cherries and it looks really pretty.
It's great on the ribs too. It looks really pretty as a finished product.
Yes.
You can actually see the cherries. So when you call it a cherry glazed rib, you know that there's cherries in it.
And then of course, because you're so good at garnishing everything, you did the cherries as a garnish and it looks like something out of a magazine. I love it. Okay, that's probably about half. What do you think?
That's about half. That looks perfect.
Okay.
And then the last ingredient is cherry cola. So you can use regular cola if you don't have cherry cola available. You've already got the cherries in there, so
Half?
Add about half that can. Yep,
Okay.
about a cup. So you'll just add that and then give it a good stir. You can give that a good whisk, or a stir with a spoon is perfect.
All these sweet flavors and then kind of maybe the spiciness of the rub are really
Exactly.
going to complement
They just
each other.
balance each other very well.
Okay.
And what you want to do is you'll want to bring this mixture to a boil, reduce the heat, and simmer it for about 15 to 20 minutes just to reduce that down to half. And then we'll be ready to glaze our ribs with that. So
when you're at the grocery store picking out ribs, what kind are the easiest to work with? There's a lot of different varieties out there, and I guess I just don't really know what to choose.
You know, really any what we're showing you today, you can do with any style rib. There are loin back ribs, St. Louis ribs like we're using today. Those happen to be a little meatier rib. There are also country style ribs, and those are usually cut into individual pieces. Sometimes they're boneless. And those also work great for this recipe. So really, you have a lot of different options that work really well.
But either way, you want them to be falling off the bone. I mean, that's what everybody says.
Exactly.
So, okay,
and the
we're
key
gonna
to that is cooking them low and slow.
Low and slow. Okay,
exactly.
We'll remember that. All right, everyone, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to have the finished product. We're going to put this glaze on the ribs, and then we might even get dirty and try it, right?
Exactly.
We'll be right back. If you're just now joining us, we are making ribs right here in the kitchen in the oven, and I have Liz Walls here from Hormel teaching me and you out there how to do it. So it's about time. Let's say it's been about an hour and a half or so. I can pull out those ribs?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
An hour and a half to 2 hours in a moderately low oven, about 325. The key to ribs is cooking them low and slow. So what we have here is our these have been rubbed with our basic barbecue blend, which is, I know, on your website.
Yes.
And then we've got our cherry cola glaze here that we've made up.
Oh, yum. And all of these recipes are going to be on the website, so no need to panic. You know, she can walk you right through it on Facebook and on Twitter. We are on that. And then, of course, right here on Meals and Minutes. Oh, that looks so good. I love the chunks of cherries. I think it's just so pretty.
It's really great. It looks
very gourmet.
Looks like summer. Great at a tailgate too. These ribs are something that you can actually even make ahead, chill them overnight, and then finish them off on your grill if you're at a tailgate party.
So what would your stopping point be if you were making them ahead?
I would bake them,
okay,
and then finish them off on the grill with the sauce that we're pouring on. You don't want to glaze your ribs too early. You want to glaze them in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the baking time, just to allow the glaze to set. You don't want them to get too dark or burnt. So.
Okay, well, since you're the expert here, Liz, is there a ladylike way for us to try these ribs on the air?
We'll give it a try here. Let's
okay.
We'll cut off a piece or two here.
I mean, sometimes the point of eating a rib is to get messy, but that's not really my style.
These
You're
are
gonna
actually
have to do this with me, you know.
These are actually quite tender, so this should be.
They do look tender.
This should be fun, you know.
And that's Hormel's thing. I mean, just to have a tender cut of meat.
Exactly. So.
Yum.
To be
this
fork
so
tender.
People will be really impressed too that you did this in the oven, don't you think?
I think so. You know, it's an easy way to do ribs where you're not actually doing them on the barbecue grill. So I'm gonna let you
just pull this one off.
Yep, it's very warm, so be careful.
Oh yes,
be careful.
It's hot.
Very hot.
You know what? Why don't I do this?
I think. Good idea. That's the ladylike way to do it. Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
They're so tender.
They fall
off the bone, so it's very difficult to cut them. So.
Oh, Liz, thank you so much for this recipe, and this is fantastic. I love it.
Great.
Good,
I'm glad you
good,
liked
good
it.
Job.
It's an easy way to have great barbecue ribs at home.
Well, thanks a lot for joining us, and everyone, guess what? IGA is on Twitter. Take a look at that. That's our screen name, IGA Courtney Wise. Type that in and start following us for some tips, some awesome pictures, and some great recipes. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.
Go to WBKO.com/midday for IGA Crossroads locations.